All right. Testing. Let me know if I'm good. Let me get a thumbs up if the audio's good. If the visual's good, let me know. Thumbs up. Shout out to everybody that's in the building already. 10 strong. We got some things to talk about. Steelers week. But just let me know if I'm good. If you guys can hear me and see me. Thumbs up, please. Please. This thing ready. Let's see what we doing here. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Jameet Blanks, for the thumbs up. Let me know that I'm good. So hello and welcome to Big Dash knows what? New York Giants football. Let's go. It is Pittsburgh Steelers week. One thing though, that's a little bit different. It is a Monday game. So tomorrow, everybody gets to have a relaxing day of football without any stress of the New York Giants. Tomorrow is stress-free, but we do got a couple of things to talk about. A few things to talk about. Thank you for letting me know that I'm loud and clear. Shout out to Sean. Shout out to Jameis. And again, shout out to the people that are already in the building. So we're not going to waste any time, man. We're going to get into it. First, I'm going to talk about some of the injuries this week going into this game. That's a fact. No pain Sunday. That's a fact. So injury-wise, Brian Dable did let us know who was going to be out, who was ruled out already. Punter Jamie Gilliam is out. Adoree Jackson out again. Ty Summers, linebacker, out. Who cares? Respectfully. Right now, Cordell Flott is doubtful and then questionable. He had Illuminor and he had Trey Hawkins on the questionable list along with some other guys. But I saw a tweet from Jermaine Illuminor saying that he's playing. Pretty much that's all the tweet said. He said, I'm playing on the tweet. So I'm pretty sure that means Jermaine Illuminor is playing. I know they had injuries with the groin and Achilles for Brian Burns, but he looks like he's going to be playing. So you get most of your guys outside of the punter, Adoree Jackson, Ty Summers, and we might not have Flott. And we can get into that a little bit later. But there's a couple of things to talk about. There's a couple of things to talk about this week. Right off the bat, we got the nod of approval. The nod of approval from John Mara. John Mara said that Joe Schoen and Brian Dable are safe. He said they don't have anything to worry about. They are safe. They're not making any Giants are not making any changes when it comes to the GM, when it comes to the coach, during the season. These guys are safe for the season. And also he added that he doesn't foresee any changes in the future for 2025. So you got the owner going out there making a statement like that. It is what it is. I'll tell you you guys already know how I feel about that. I'm very, very mad at the play calling when it comes to Brian Dable. A lot of people will blame that on Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has his fault too, but Brian Dable definitely has, a hand to play in that. And then also Joe Schoen. This draft class ended up being one of his better draft classes. He's getting everything out of them for the most part. But again, those two first draft classes with all the lineman misses, the Evan Neal's stuff going on, what it is. It is what it is. But right now, John Mara is saying that these guys are safe. But one thing we can't forget, though, with a guy like John Mara was the same owner, if my memory serves me right, that okayed the benching of Eli Manning when McAdoo and Jerry Reese were here. And of course, we all know what happened when they benched Eli. Geno Smith went in there. We lost the game, and then the next day, those guys got their pink slips. And we'll see what happens to that. But shout out to the people in the building. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick roll call. Again, started off, Jameis is in the building. My man Sean Clowney is in the building. BK Football, what's going on? Trash Can Dan is afraid of the bright lights at night. We will lose. Listen, we already know the 1-14 record for Daniel Jones in prime time. Again, Sydney Angel says no pain Sunday. Brian Burns seems to play better hurt. That's funny. He could be true too. Shout out to my man Rick Torchier is in the building. BK Football says the only change is going to be at quarterback. I wasn't even ready to talk about the quarterback yet. I'm gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that. Shout out to my man Mosley in the building. Salute Jersey. That's a fact. Jersey is in the building. Sean, you from Jersey too? That's right. Shout out to Jersey in the building. Yeah. So Again, let me know how you guys feel about that. Let me know in the comment section how you feel. Do you guys feel that John Mara did the right thing coming out early and saying these guys are safe? We didn't even make it to the bye week yet, and he's saying that Joe Shane, Brian Dable, they don't have anything to worry about. Let me know how you guys feel about that. I'm gonna start talking about my next subject though. All right. Another thing that happened. So a lot of people were upset with the lack of hustle from Deontay Banks. A lot of people were upset. I was upset with that lack of hustle. I thought maybe because it was 2 weeks in a row, or we saw that lack of hustle twice already, and we saw him get an earful from Jerome Henderson, defensive back coach. And I went to this game thinking like, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they benched Tay Banks for like a quarter or something. Just some disciplinary stuff that's happening. And when I saw Shane Bowen at the podium, he didn't want to say anything about um, Tay Banks getting benched or anything like that. But Brian Dable came out and pretty much said that he was starting. So, I mean, I don't know if there was just some confusion between the DC and the head coach, but I'm curious to see what really happens on Monday if, in fact, Tay Banks is starting from the jump, or if they decide to sit him a little bit as, just some disciplinary action. But Dexter Lawrence was asked about the situation, and he pretty much said that it was already handled. You won't see anybody doing anything like that again. That's what Dexter Lawrence said, and that's what you want your leaders to say. If these players can handle it, and I saw that Carl Banks also tweeted that he has some experience with this, and if the leader of the team, if the players say it's handled, then it's handled. They don't need any kind of interference with from the coaches. So I'm gonna go with Carl Banks. I'm gonna side with Carl Banks, and I'm gonna side with Dexter Lawrence. If they say that Dexter Lawrence said it's handled, then I'm gonna believe that it's handled. I can't argue with that at all. At all. All right. Shout out to my man Dwayne Murphy in the building. Dwayne, you starting early, man. Don't worry about tanking because DJ will take care of that for us. That's another thing, man. There's no players don't tank. Coaches might tank, stuff like that, but the players don't tank. And right now, again, to your point, Dwayne, the way we have been playing, we've been losing anyway. There's no need to be pushing the tank or pushing for a tank. The players don't tank. They don't do that. These guys get paid to play. It is what it is. So Sean, you from Piscataway. Shout out to Piscataway, man. Shout out to Jersey in the building, man. Dwayne says, I believe those comments had to be Mara's apology for forcing DJ on this regime. That could be it too. But I think that Mara's already and I said it last week too, the writing's on the wall. You see the operation throw Daniel Jones from the train is in full effect. They have made him the scapegoat. He is absolutely scapegoat. Not saying that he didn't play his role in it. Not saying that he has a lot of blame for it. But you can see that the coaches, the GM's not really saying anything at all. But you can tell by some of the comments that Brian Dable is making as far as explosive plays and calling plays. I'm gonna keep calling explosive plays. You can tell he's trying to separate and point his finger at Daniel Jones. And again, Daniel Jones holds enough blame already. I know Dwayne, he can agree with that as far as Brian Dable being able to call better plays if he had a better quarterback. But yeah, you can see the separation. You can see the separation for sure. Sean says Mara did the right thing. Okay, a lot of people believe that. The positive out of that, I will say is this: if it's kind of hard to figure things out, to operate, to be able to focus and maintain when you got that type of pressure of being on the hot seat. So getting that voice, the vote of confidence from John Mara, maybe it relieves some of that pressure off of Brian Dable and allows him to be more comfortable when he's calling his plays and not feeling like his back is against the wall. So that's my point of view as far as the good in regards to Brian Dable and Joe Shane. Take some pressure, relieve some pressure from these guys for sure. Mosley says Mara silenced the noise around that so they can focus on football. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yep, that's what it is. Shout out to my man, the Giant Way. G-Way, what's good, brother? How you doing, man? Mosley says DJ equals Sam Darnold. What's going on, Luke? Luke Rodriguez says, what's up? BK Football says, with a better quarterback, we'd probably be 6-1. A lot of people feel the same way, man. A lot of people feel the same way. We can't hide from it, can't run from it. I think a lot of people are slowly starting to realize it. Some people already knew it already. But Yeah, and there's still some people holding on, man. And I got into a little back and forth, and shout out to just back and forths. I welcome all debates, any back and forth. But me and Cop Pizzle, shout out to Cop Pizzle, man. Me and Cop Pizzle had a little back and forth on Twitter, and actually in the comment section to one of my videos when he was mad. He was mad at the video that I made about blaming Brian Dable, blaming Daniel Jones, and I just told him the same thing I told everybody else the other night. It's like, listen, I'm a fan. I'm not a cheerleader. If I'm upset about what these guys are doing, I'm going to voice my opinion. If I just can't cheer just for the sake of cheering all the time, sometimes I got to let these real emotions out. And like I said, me and Cop Pizzle talked about it. We cool, man. Absolutely cool. Luke Rodriguez says Malik Nabers bound for a big day. I hope so, man. I hope so. He's one of the players I have on my players to watch. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But that Malik Nabers is definitely high on this list. It won't be easy. That Pittsburgh Steelers defense is fierce, all levels. There are certain ways that you can try to attack them, but again, that's a strong defense, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Dwayne Murphy says Cop Pizzle doesn't do anything but cry because he's been wrong about DJ from day one and won't accept it. Listen, again, one thing about Cop Pizzle is 100% authentic with the way he feels. He shares his opinion and he stands on it. And I appreciate people that can stand on their opinion. But he is stubborn for sure. Shout out to Pizzle. Anything I say to you guys, I already talk to Cop Pizzle about it though. Shout out to Sean Clowney with the $5 super chat. He says, if we lose Monday, don't think we need to sit DJ before he gets injured. He's been taking a beating. I think so. I think the injury clause is something that's definitely going to be, I guess, a stronger role in the decision making. For sure. It's too much money on the line. And when you think about that 2-year out, if they want to exercise that, making sure that he's healthy at the end of the season matters. $23 million worth of mattering, for sure. My man G-Way says, no one is bigger than the team. I'm a huge fan of DJ, but if he is the reason why we are losing, he needs to go. Absolutely. Absolutely. I tell everybody, and a lot of people agree. I'm a Giants fan first. I'm not just a players fan. I do have my favorite players, but when it comes to picking the Giants over a player, I'm always going to pick the Giants first. Listen, I've been a Giants fan longer than the whole roster, you should say, because that roster is pretty young. Even the oldest person on that roster. I've been a Giants fan longer than those guys have been alive, for a fact. For sure. Showing my age a little bit. Sydney says Nabers needs to show up and prove he is a top receiver. And listen, man, the only thing Nabers needs to do is just get the targets. Get the targets, catch the ball. And everything you're saying right now as far as showing up and proving that he's a top receiver, just think about what happened in the beginning of the season. He was getting all those targets, getting all those receptions, and he was leading the league for a certain amount of time before he got hurt, especially leading all rookies. So all he has to do is get the targets. If we can get the targets to him, it is what it is. I don't think there's somebody that can actually stay with Malik Nabers one-on-one. Again, it's a package deal when you're talking about that Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Strong defense. Can't argue with nothing about that, though. For sure. Let's see. That's why we love him, though, Sean. That's why we love him. Pizzle talks crazy sometimes. Pizzle is Pizzle, man. Pizzle is Pizzle, man. And like I said, if crazy uncle sometimes, but you still love him. But shout out to Pizzle, man. I gotta get Pizzle on here. I gotta get on Pizzle show. It's been a while. Sydney says we could have had Russell Wilson back in March. That is a fact. For sure. For sure. We had the impromptu meeting. I believe it was at Newark Airport, but nothing came from that. He was on his way to see the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's the end of the story for the New York Giants. They should have had a bigger push, but one thing, the rumor is that they pretty much told Russell Wilson when he got here that he would be the backup quarterback to Daniel Jones. Not that he would battle Daniel Jones for the spot, that he would have to be the backup. And guess what? When you're Russell Wilson, Super Bowl champion, and somebody's telling you that you have to be the backup, not even a competition, you have to be the backup to Daniel Jones. Yeah, why would you want to come here either? You know what I mean? Shout out to my family in the building. Yo, Big Dad, what's going on, Shamari? Shout out to the family in the building. Johnny Lovely, what's going on, Johnny? Johnny, I saw you in the spaces a couple times listening in. Shout out to Johnny. He says, what were your thoughts on our GM at Colorado? You already know what it is. The assistant GM, you already know what it is. A lot of people talking about that, Shador saying this does not fit what New York is looking for. That's all cap. That's lies. one of the most flashiest cities in the world. Bright lights, big city, New York, and you telling me Shador won't fit in? Get out of here. And they just didn't have the assistant GM there. There was a couple people there. I believe it was 6 people in total that were there, at a practice, so not even at the game. And who knows, the game starts in about an hour. Those same guys are probably still there, waiting to see that kid play. Shout out to the Colorado Buffs. Sean says it will destroy our salary cap for next year. What are we talking about if he the injury clause? Yeah, it's not good. It's definitely not good. Shout out to my man TP Way, the Giant is in the building. He said, I would like to see a game where the opposing coach isn't coaching circles around Dable, with or without DJ. That's a fact. Again, they shine that bright light. The spotlight is on Daniel Jones, but right behind Daniel Jones is Brian Dable. And he, like I said, you can't get around it. You can say whatever you want about Daniel Jones, and it could be true. But Brian Dable definitely needs to step it up. He's been getting out-coached often. The last good game plan he had was Seattle, and I'll give him props for that. But guess what you did in Seattle? You ran the ball. So let's get back to doing that. But it won't be easy, not against these Pittsburgh Steelers. Shamari says, you've been a Giants fan as long as I can remember. That's why, Big Dad, that's a fact. And guess what? You've been a fan as long as me, too. That's my older cousin for y'all that didn't know. We grew up in the house together. And he's been a Giants fan as long as I can remember, too. All right. Ricky says, Tyler Newman's leading all rookies before. Now, I was going to get to that, man. You're stealing stuff, man. Slow down. You're stealing a little bit. I was going to get to these rookies, man. I was going to get to Tyler Newman. I'm also going to talk about Andrew Phillips a bit too. But yeah, you're absolutely right. He is leading the league, all rookies. We're leading all rookies with 49 tackles. That's a fact. But guess what, though? The good side of that is he's leading all rookies. The bad part of that is he's a safety and leading all rookies in tackles. That means the people are getting to that third level a little too often. Sydney says now Wilson is cooking. Yeah, guess what? He had a good game. And again, they went into that game. There was a lot of controversy. Tomlin, went with Russell Wilson. He decided to sit Justin Fields, and a lot of people weren't happy about it. But guess what? That's why Mike Tomlin is Mike Tomlin. That's why he's never had a losing season. He knows what he's talking about. He threw Russ in there, and guess what? Russ cooked. Absolutely. Put some respect on Tomlin's name. And guess what? The Steelers are family anyway. That Maravoni connection is there. It is there. A lot of love being shown in the comment section. Dwayne, did you already get started with somebody, man? Dwayne says, okay, this feeling like, this is feeling like borderline nepotism or something else. How in the world can you justify telling Russell Wilson he will be the backup to DJ? I know. It's crazy talk, man. It's crazy talk. For sure. This is the question right here. And without further ado, let's talk about it a little bit. Sydney says, Dash, can we realistically win versus Pittsburgh? I'll say this, and it's cliche. Any given Sunday, or in this case, any given Monday, anybody can win. How do I feel about this game? I do not feel good about this game. Mostly it's about their defense versus our offense. I don't think we can put up points or enough points to beat them. Now, when it comes to their offense, they're getting back on track. But prior to last week, they weren't making all the explosive plays. They were dealing with some frustrations with Pickens. But again, that was 2 weeks ago. Now we're talking a week ago, and they look like they're on fire. They put up 37 points, and I would assume that they're back on track. There's nothing else that I can go by. What have you done for me lately? They put up 37 points, and Russell Wilson looked like he's back. He looked like he's back for sure. My man Luke says, do you think Dexter could win Defensive Player of the Year as a D tackle? And is he on pace to break a sack record? Right now, I believe they said he's on pace to have 20 and a half sacks. And I forget what the amount of pressures were. I think it was something like, was it 79? It was something crazy. The main thing for Dexter Lawrence to win Defensive Player of the Year, and it sucks, the New York Giants have to be more successful in order for him to get that, I think. Unless his numbers, like if he breaks like the sack record or something like that, then it becomes undeniable. But a lot of guys they get the short end of the stick when they're playing on a bad team or a team with a bad record from getting those type of awards, and it just happens that way. So to me, does he have a chance? Absolutely. Right now, today, I believe he is the best defensive player in the league. The stats say it, and a lot of people believe it as well, not just Giants fans. Um, Dwayne says, I hate the comments about Shador's personality. Y'all want a culture change, but don't want to bring in players with personality. Now, that's true, man. One thing about the New York Giants, we got 100 years, a little bit old fashioned, setting our ways in some categories, and you already know what I'm talking about, Dwayne. But in my opinion, it's a no brainer for Shador for me. Like Cam Ward is right there, coming behind him right there, pause. But right, Shador is still one of those guys that like the pre-game, I mean pre-snap, post-snap. I think he's just the best out there right now. And we'll see what happens. Because a lot of people are riding that Cam Ward train for real. I like the way that Cam Ward is poised, but Shador is poised too, man. So if we can get those guys to play against each other, if somehow, some way in the playoffs, you see a Colorado versus a Miami team, I think that would be primetime television for sure. But I doubt that happens. Even though I believe it's 12 teams now in the college playoffs when it's all said and done. So we'll see what happens with that. My man Jose, what's going on? Jose says, Dash, what's good? Giants D-line going to eat Wilson's snacks all day. That's what I hope will happen, man. We could talk about a little bit with the injuries for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it's pretty much the offensive line. They're missing their starting center. And then their second-year guy at right tackle, Broderick Jones, has not been playing up to par. And if we're going to be able to get to Russell Wilson, that's where it has to start. Dexter Lawrence up the middle, pause, and then Brian Burns or Azeez Ojulari, cleaning up on the edges. So, man, it's not like it's an impossible feat. It's just that a lot of things have to go right in order for the Giants to pull this one off. And then ultimately, the offense got to put points on the board. It is what it is. A lot of people agreeing with Dwayne. TP says, not to get off subject, but if you were reading this, do not check on the status of the Yankee game. Oh, Lord, what's going on with the Yankees? How bad is it? Is it that bad? Somebody let me know in the comment section how bad it is, man. Oh, man, Sydney says, I know. What are we doing? Get to the big dance. What are we doing? Come on, Yankees. Somebody let me know what's the score. I don't want to grab my phone and look and take away some time, man. Down 4-1. What inning? What inning are they in? Let me know what inning they're in. But okay, anyway. So the next subject I want to talk about, nobody's gonna like. It's the Ezeudu situation. Joshua Ezeudu right now looks like he's still going to be the left tackle for the New York Giants. Right now we don't have a better option, and that's the part that's laughable to me. When you have a guy like Evan Neal, who you drafted, 7th overall 2 years ago, 3 years ago now, 2 drafts ago. But how is Evan Neal? How is he not a better option than Joshua Ezeudu? And I know he played on the right side and he plays on the right side, but what are we talking about here? Like, what is taking so long for him to get right? Bottom of the 4th. Thank you very much. Bottom of the 4th. So we got some time. Bottom of the 4th. I appreciate that. Yankees got some time to come back. If if the Dodgers could come back like they did in the first game, the Yankees got a chance to come back as long as it doesn't get out of hand. As long as we're grand slam away, we got to hold on to the faith. That's high hopes, right? That's high hopes. But thank you, TP Way, for bringing that up for the Yankees, man. Nah, man, I can't do it. I can't do it. But nah, Ezeudu, man, Ezeudu at left tackle. When I did predict the 53, who makes the 53 roster, I didn't have Joshua Ezeudu even making the team. I knew we were limited at backup. I know that. I thought the guy Zach Tom that we picked up, I thought he was going to be the swing tackle. I knew Evan Neal was going to be playing, but I didn't even have Ezeudu making the team. I had Kubas making the team over him. And when you get into the season and you're hoping and you're praying that the offensive line stays healthy. The offensive line started out really good, and then last week no Andrew Thomas, and it felt like the whole line fell apart. John Runyon was asked about that, and he didn't blame it on just Andrew Thomas not being here. Of course, these offensive line is prideful. What does Andrew Thomas have to do with the interior of the line? I mean, understandably so, but we're talking about chemistry. Um, and we already know how it works when you have somebody new next to you. You have a tendency to compensate. And I think that's probably what the New York Giants were doing, or the offensive line was doing, trying to compensate for Zudu. But that's not the player's job to do that. That's the coach's job. That's to get a tight end on the left side to help chip some favor. Call a quick game. To help your quarterback out. To avoid some of that pressure. So I mean, yes, Zudu's not the best player. Do I like Zudu? No, but at the end of the day, coaches know he knows what he has with Zudu. And for him not to, do the double tights, give him some extra chip blocking from the tight end, or keeping the running back there to help, because we saw a lot of empty backfield last week too. Like, you're setting yourself up for failure. And unless the rumor is that they're setting up Jones, so unless that is true, why are you doing that? Why are you setting up the quarterback for failure, knowing that there's a big hole, pause, on that left side with Joshua Zudu being there. Now, they did say that Hubbard, the guy that we picked up off the 49ers practice squad, got some snaps at left tackle this week, but I don't know, what that means as far as the game goes. I don't know if he's up to speed enough for him to actually get some snaps, or see what's happening. But like I said, the good news is Jermaine Illuminor, because we thought it was going to be a Zudu on the left side and Neal on the right side midweek. But Illuminor let it be known that he is playing, so that's one less person we have to worry about. Illuminor will be the right tackle, and Evan Neal will be on the bench, even though I think he's a better option than Zudu on the left side. So I just want to talk about some other things. So clearly, and I got my man TP in the building, and shout out to Sneaky G. Sneaky G had his show throughout the week, and one of the things that came up was Malik Nabers and his comments after the game, telling people to check the target tape. I'm open. And everything sounds good. Shout out to my man TP. TP Way said, nah, he wasn't open all the time. He wasn't open as much as he made it seem that he was open. But again, what do you think about these comments? And that's one of the things with the New York Giants that we have not seen before. We haven't seen the lack of effort from players on the field like Deontay Banks, and we also haven't seen a lot of comments being made that aren't favorable from the locker room. And again, Malik Nabers is young, talented player. All wide receivers, no matter what you say, all wide receivers want the ball and will have that mindset. But I didn't think it was as big of a deal as some people might have made it. Not saying TP is one of those guys, but TP Way made it known that he wasn't open as much as you made it seem. And what you guys think about Malik Nabers' comments? Do you think it was warranted? Do you think he did too much? Do you think he should have just left it alone? Do you blame the beat writers for asking that type of question? What do you guys think about that? Let me know. Sydney says, with the Zudu at left tackle, we are going to have major injuries. Jones can't play under pressure. My question is, how can Dable sit there and say Jones gives us the best chance to win? And that's the next subject in the stream. That's the next subject. TP Way says, I don't like the comments at all. It was super selfish. And he's talking about, Malik Nabers. Dwayne Murphy says, I'm telling you guys, watch Hard Knocks again. Dable was clearly frustrated by the idea of keeping Jones and not grabbing one of these quarterbacks. So I definitely believe this is a setup. Okay, so that's pretty much commenting on what I said earlier. No, yeah, you can go back and watch Hard Knocks. A lot of people already watched it a few times. It was clear that Brian Dable did want one of these quarterbacks. In defense of the New York Giants, though, the teams that were ahead of us, even if we had the picks to give up, I don't think they was coming off of those picks, coming off of those quarterbacks. It was clear with the Patriots. It was definitely clear with the Washington Commanders. And of course, if Ryan Poles would have picked somebody other than Caleb Williams, we wouldn't even, he would not even exist anymore. So when it comes to those three guys, and Jaden Daniels was high on Brian Dable's list. You could tell by the way he talked about him, the way his eyes lit up when he talked about him. But yeah, Yeah, I don't think we was getting those quarterbacks. But if you guys been watching me for a while, you know I was a big fan of Michael Penix, and I felt like Penix was right there to be had at 6. But again, I don't want to cry over spilled milk. It is what it is. And we got Malik Nabers, and that's a fantastic addition to the New York Giants. And we got to see what we can do now, for sure. TP says the comments he made was locker room talk. Cool. Yeah. Also, I don't like the comments at all. It was super selfish talking about Malik Nabers. My man Dwayne got the rebuttal for him. Sydney says, "Do you think Mara didn't want to waste his money with Dable sitting on?" Oh, we're talking. You know what? I don't think it matters anymore. Like I said, as soon as the year started, well, as soon as the contract signed, the money's there already. You're getting paid. So whether you sit him or not, you still got to pay the guy. But if you're not getting the results that you want, like I can see if the New York Giants were winning games or scoring points, I should say. If they were scoring points, then you might have that debate. But right now, I don't think anybody's thinking about the money. It's already that money's already burned up. It's gone. It's gone. My man Sean said it was warranted. The truth hurts. Talking about what Malik Nabers said. It's true. Like I said, when we talking about wide receivers, man, and a young wide receiver, it is what it is, man. That's the mindset. Um, some of these guys are divas. Some of these guys are dogs. I think we got a dog. Could he be a little bit selfish? Absolutely. But I want my wide receivers selfish. I want them to feel like they're open, and I want them to feel like they can make a change. And that's what Malik Nabers can do and will do and has done. Shout out to TP. He got to catch the balls though. He got to catch the balls. Shout out to Ghost Dog Blue. Says peace and salute. Shout out to Ghost. What's going on, Ghost? I'm gonna let you guys go back and forth, Dwayne and TP. Y'all can do that. Listen, I understand both sides of the argument. Shout out to Mickey. He says, "What's up, Big Dash? Watching the World Series right now, but I'll be listening." That's a fact. I didn't even think about it. This is a show that's already been scheduled. I didn't think about the World Series or trying to even compete with the World Series. But guess what? That's why you have a TV and you have a smartphone or a laptop. You can do both. It's baseball. You can put it on mute and watch it and then listen to me. That's a fact, man. That's a fact. Is it still 4-1 though? Is it still 4-1? Has there been any change outside of the inning? Yeah, man, I didn't even think about the World Series, to tell you the truth. I'm so focused on football on Saturdays, I didn't even think about it. So I'm gonna go into these players that I want to watch, key players for the game. And again, it's going to be a relaxing Sunday because the New York Giants don't play. Monday is going to be an entirely different story. So number one on my list is going to be Deontay Banks. I want to see how Deontay Banks plays after, the noise. After he's been approached about his lack of effort, after Dexter Lawrence said it was handled, I want to see how Tay Banks goes out there and plays. Is he going to be more aggressive? Is he going to be playing with a bigger chip on his shoulder? That's what I want to see. Thank you for letting me know there was no change in the game. Like, I think with a young guy like Banks, you have to reel that in early because he has all the right type of energy. He's a little bit of a trash talker. He's a physical corner. But once you start seeing a lack of effort, you have to handle that quickly. And shout out to the players for approaching him. Shout out for Dexter Lawrence for being the leader that he is. And pretty much saying that it was handled, and we get to see what's going to happen after that. Also, players that I'm watching too, I want to see if Aziz can have a better game. So he lit us up with the Seattle game. We were excited the Seattle game, and then he disappeared a week later. I'm wondering which Aziz Ojulari we're going to see. Are we going to see that same guy we saw against Seattle? Or are we going to see just that rotational guy and the reason why we have Brian Burns now? Because he did not make a big enough impact, to stop us from paying somebody else a lot of money. Cost us a draft pick and cost us a lot of money. That's Aziz is another person. Also, I want to talk about these rookies. I want to see how Drew Phillips plays, and I want to see how Tyler Nubin plays as well. Again, we got I believe they have them ranked in the top 10. 2 rookies in the top 10 for PFF. Tyler Nubin, Andrew Phillips. Andrew Phillips is definitely Andrew Phillips is definitely showing that he was worth that third round pick. A lot of people, were not excited about the pick. I'll say it myself. I wasn't super excited about the pick. There were some other cornerbacks out there. He was a slot corner. We knew that. And we knew that this team was full of slot corners already. But I didn't imagine the impact, the impact that this guy would have. And I didn't expect him to have the kind of impact that he's having. But shout out to Drew Phillips. Shout out for him being a hidden gem for the New York Giants in this draft class. And shout out to Joe Shane and the scouting team for finding Drew Phillips. And also, Mike Tomlin did speak highly of Andrew Phillips when he did his preview of the game a few days ago. Tyler Nubin. Tyler Nubin is another guy who, again, quietly, and we can say quietly because it hasn't been splashing, but quietly he is putting together a fantastic year as a rookie. For Giants fans, we pay a little bit more closer attention to a guy like Tyler Nubin. I'm still waiting for him to pop with the interception. Pause. I'm still waiting on that. I need that interception from Tyler Nubin, but the way that he's been playing, he's been supporting the run again, leading all defensive rookies and tackles. We might not get a chance to see the full potential of Tyler Nubin the way he's being played right now. We'll see what happens because, again, the guy that's playing opposite of him is Pinnock, and Pinnock is quietly also having a pretty good season. And he could be a guy that may get extended at the end of the year, a guy that we bring back. But those are the guys on defense. Of course, Dexter Lawrence, of course, Brian Burns. I don't want to just talk about the stars of the team all the time, but those are the guys on defense. Let me know if you guys have some other people that you want to see on defense or that you want to do a players to watch on defense. Let me get to some of these comments. Ghost Dog said Drew Phillips was a steal. Third round pick, man. Third round pick. And third round pick should be contributors. Let's see what's here. Ghost says Dable has no run game. So we went back to that. Okay. I see the conversation happening. So Sydney says, is Brian Dable going to come put throwing? Oh, sorry. Oh, it's going to come out throwing in the first half. Then running the ball, eating the clock, second half from behind. I can't see that again and keep. Yeah, no, we can't. Yeah, it's insane. No, he can't. Listen, and it's hard to say that too because again, we're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers and that defense. There's really no weakness on the Pittsburgh Steelers. But with that being said, you still have to be able to come out here and try to establish the run, and build your game plan off of establishing the run. So I can't watch it again either, Sydney. I mean, I will watch it, but it's gonna kill me to have to watch it if Brian Dable does the same exact thing again. I don't want to watch it, but again, I'm a Giants fan. It is what it is. But hopefully, we can establish a run. Hopefully, we can get the tight ends involved. I think that's the best way to attack the Steelers. Is to get the tight ends involved. You're gonna have to do the quick game. You're gonna have to do the dinking and dunking. I know a lot of people don't feel that that's exciting enough, but are you trying to be exciting or are you trying to win games? For me this year, I want to win games. Maybe when we get a new quarterback, we can be exciting. But right now, it just is what it is. And for me, I'm always going to root for the wins. I can't worry about 2025 yet. Sean says Malik was pointing to another receiver open, and DJ still screwed it up. Yeah, I saw the play. I saw it was Darius Slayton. Pretty much Malik Nabers ran the defender off with him. You had Darius Slayton on, looked like it might have been an in route or maybe a slight curl route, but yeah, and Malik Nabers is clearly pointing to him. And that's the play where I believe Daniel Jones was late on the pass, but it still did hit Slayton in the hand. So that was a big debate whether or not he should have caught it or not. But that pass should have been thrown as soon as he got out of his break. But again, it is what it is. Shout out to Sydney with the $2 super chat. He says, Mr. Block? Mr. Block? Is that what that means? Let me know. I'm not too keen on I'm not too up to date with the emojis sometimes. Showing my age. Shout out to Trey Block. Trey Block says we're gonna need 21 points from the 21 points from the defense. That's hilarious. Somebody got to score the points. Somebody got to score. maybe we can make Russell Wilson make a mistake and get a pick six out of the deal. Maybe we get some pressure and get a scoop and score. But definitely need the defense to show up for sure in this game. We don't know what the offense is going to bring, who's going to show up, and when they're going to decide to show up. But at least we know that the defense is, for the most part, game and willing to go. So if they need to score, hopefully that's something that we can do. Oh, that's what it is. It's for DeVito. Thank you for explaining that. It was a Tommy DeVito emoji. Okay, I couldn't see it. It didn't come across. So I'm assuming you're talking about that one, right? I'm glad everybody else knew it. I didn't know it. Look at me. I'm out the loop. I apologize. Now I know. Now I know. John Mayer, John May, we're not, what was that? Getting turnovers like last year. No, that's a fact. We're not getting the same amount of turnovers. It's a different type of defense. Wink played for turnovers, and you see it in some cases with our defense when they go to tackle. They're looking for strips. They're trying to punch the ball out, rip the ball out. That's something that Wink used to preach. I don't know if Bowen also preaches that, but yeah, we see it. And speaking of that, have anybody noticed, like, for the New York Giants, like, whenever we don't hit people as hard as we should? Has anybody else noticed that? Like, we have guys like Phillips and Nubin that, they come, they bring the wood, pause. But have you noticed, like, we do a lot of grappling and swinging people down and stuff like that. We won't see nobody lay the wood too much, man. I'm not gonna pause that one. We got to start laying the wood. I will pause that one though. We got a hit, man. We got a hit for sure. Shout out to A-Trax. He says, "What's up, Dash? What's going on, bro? What's up, man? What's good, fam? What's good?" Bones NYG says, how about the Wellington Mara documentary? You talking about that Duke the Duke is the name of that documentary. That's the Duke, man. That's how I feel about it. It's the Duke. What happened to my Giants? That's the Duke. But let's get back to that. He said no Diddy. That's crazy. Shout out to my nephew. Said no Diddy. Yeah, I paused it. I came back and paused it again. I paused it. Nah, that's a fact, right? T. We go to try to strip the ball way too much. Like, I haven't, and I understand you don't want to get a flag, unnecessary roughness, but you know what? Sometimes I want to see somebody did you perfect example, right? Perfect example last week. Who got ran over? Dane Belton. By who? Saquon Barkley. And did you see why he got ran over? Because he was just sitting there waiting for the contact. He was waiting for the contact. Saquon said it was lunch, and he ran him over. Because we're not. The one thing they taught me, my coaches taught me, you're supposed to run through the tackle. And too many times we see our guys catching people. Pause. They're catching them and not hitting them. And Nubin does it. Phillips does it. Dexter Lawrence, you can't help it but do it because he's just the strongest guy on the field. But even when we got some of the sacks that we got, we're wrangling these guys down, man. We're not hitting them. Knock the ball loose. The hardest hitters on the team right now, outside of Dexter Lawrence, is Tyler Nubin and Andrew Phillips, if we're going to be honest here. Everybody else is grabbing people. No, man. Let's work on the technique. Let's be more aggressive. I can't say what I want to say, but they usually say knock it in the dirt. Knock it in the dirt, man. Now, that's a fact, John. That's a fact. Nobody wants to get fined. Yeah, I understand that. But sometimes you want to set a tempo. I mean, you want to set it. You want to set it. And outside of Dexter Lawrence doing what he does, like I said, you see that lack of just nasty sometimes when it comes to the New York Giants. And that's why you see so many guys break tackles. Like, for instance, Azeez Ojulari. Remember the sack that he missed? The guy broke out. What about the linebacker Adams on Jalen Hurts last week? How do you miss that sack? He had him dead to rights. And on that same play, we saw the lack of effort from from Tay Banks. So maybe that's what it was. Tay Banks saw how bad that effort was from Adams and just said, forget it. You had him 5 yards in the backfield, and here I am 15 yards down the field trying to make a tackle. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what did it. You sitting here seeing these guys look bad and just nah, but that's not an excuse. I'm not even going to give them that out for sure. Sydney says, I hope so, TP Way, or Banks just isn't good enough. You know what? Banks, for me, Banks was forced into the CB1 spot. I don't think that he's a real CB1 yet. He's just a CB1 by default right now. But I think that he can actually get there. But right now he's forced in that spot, and we're seeing a guy in his second year that does not have the best ball skills, still having issues getting his head around. And if you're already having those two issues, you can't have a lack of effort on top of that, because you will be in the doghouse with the fans already. And for some people, he's already in the doghouse a little bit. Davon says Tay Banks needs to be a leader on it. I'm pretty sure he meant defense. Now, that's a fact. He needs to be. He's forced into that role. When you're the CB1, you're forced to be a leader for sure. He said, no, that's a fact. Oh, you tell, yeah. So, yeah, let's get into some of these matchups. So we know the Steelers, and that's what he's talking about. Pickens talking about George Pickens, and that's going to be one of the matchups. Is Tay Banks? It's Tay Banks against George Pickens. Now, the one thing, they do move him around, but they do have a guy that's primary slot. They got the guy Austin, who's a slot guy, as well. But for me, I think Pickens plays the X receiver. He's going to be on the outside, and I believe they will have Tay Banks following him. Because right now we don't know exactly who the CB2 is going to be. Again, Flott's dealing with an injury. Hawkins is dealing with a little bit of an injury. Adoree Jackson is out. Is it going to be McLeod? That's opposite. We don't know for sure. So in that case, yes, I want Banks. Even with everything I just said about Banks not really being a CB1, he's going to have to be the guy assigned to George Pickens. And we already know George Pickens is a beast. Even when he's not open, he's open. Body control, height, weight, strength, strong hands. Got that dog mentality. So it's going to be exciting to see that battle. It won't be exciting if we can't get a pass rush though. If we can't get a pass rush, George Pickens is going to eat Tay Banks alive. And yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Dwayne says Banks always felt like a reach. It was like a front office wanted their own Sauce Gardner and took Banks. Banks was a wink pick for real. And a lot of people at the time, we were okay with Banks. We were okay with Joey Porter Jr. It was like, okay, whatever. And we actually traded up. We gave up picks to move up one spot to get Deontay Banks. And we just could have stayed where we were, got Tay Banks anyway, because I think he still would have been there. Or if there's somebody would have got Tay Banks, we could have easily took Joey Porter Jr. But that's destiny. Joey Porter Jr. was meant to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, where his dad played. So things just happened the way it happened. So did it feel like a reach? I can understand why you think that, but I don't think so. In that comparison to Sauce Gardner, yes, I don't think it's close. I don't think it's close at all. Sauce Gardner is just a different type of player for sure. Ball skills, different level altogether. Yeah, Tay Banks is not on that level for sure. If you want to compare Tay Banks to somebody, you got to compare him to somebody like Joey Porter. That seems like just a more fair comparison. John says, I will still want a CB even with how good Drew Phillips. Yeah, Drew Phillips is a slot. That's where he thrives right now. They did ask about Drew Phillips playing outside possibly at Shane Bowen, with Shane Bowen when he's at the podium. They asked him about that, and he said pretty much he's playing them inside, and he's not focusing on playing them outside. And again, we at the Senior Bowl, he did play a little outside during the Senior Bowl practice, and was actually one of the reasons why a lot of people ended up liking him, because he showed some skills during the Senior Bowl week that he didn't show, throughout his years in Kentucky. That man-to-man coverage and being outside. But in the pinch, is that something that he could possibly do? Absolutely. But for his role on defense, we need him a little bit closer to the line in that slot spot and run support. I think that's just something that he has to be in. Davon said it's going in. it's going to need to be a dime package game with a lack of. Yes, I do agree with that. I do agree with that. Definitely going to need to be too high safety for sure. If you want to run a dime package, you can. Who do you pull off the field in that situation? Obviously, Bobby Okereke needs to stay. Who's going to be that extra guy that you're throwing there for coverage? But yeah, I think dime package is definitely an option for sure. Just got to make sure that we in that too high safety. Has to be that because again, with Deontay Banks, you don't want single high safety. You don't want these guys to have man-to-man coverage on the outside without any kind of safety help over the top. But I do agree with you. Sydney says if we can't get a pass rush, Wilson's going. Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I was saying. I know I got to get caught up to the chat, but yeah, that's exactly what I said. Especially when it comes to these matchups with these wide receivers, if you give Russell Wilson time, he is going to eat us alive. You know, Russell Wilson is not the same player that he was, but he's still Russell Wilson at the end of the day. And we were reminded last week. We saw what he can do. We got to be able to get home. He's not the same guy as far as being able to make plays off script, but he's still a very capable quarterback. And we got to get home. James Hollister says giving up a pick for Jalen, talking about Jalen Hyde, is not looking good right now. Yeah. Yeah, we gave up a fourth rounder. We gave up a fourth rounder to go up and get Jalen Hyatt. But again, listen, and he was on the injury report and then wasn't. Like last week they said he cracked a rib. And I thought he was going to be out for a while. Next thing I know, he's full participation in Friday's practice. Full participation. So what's really going on with the ribs? Is the ribs really cracked or was it just sore? We don't know. Maybe it was a false positive X-ray too. Maybe that's what happened. But for me, the one thing I'll say about this is for that short amount of time that Drew Lock was in the game, he got a deep shot target to Jalen Hyatt. Now Jalen Hyatt didn't get the catch, but it was a deep shot to Jalen Hyatt, and he did that, I believe, the second series that he was in the game. So if you're telling me that Drew Lock can get a down the field target, and Hyatt was open, no pun intended, he was open, and he was able to get a shot there. So if he's able to do that, then what are we really talking about? Now he got to catch the ball at the end of the day. But we saw that man. We've been begging for weeks. Well, I've been begging for weeks. I'll speak for myself to see Hyatt get a target downfield, and it took Drew Lock to be the guy to do it. What are we talking about? But no, as far as production on the field, you're absolutely right. It's not up to snuff. It does look like a bad pick right now because he's not up to snuff, but there are some caveats to that. G-Man 56 says, Dash, I know it's early, but who's the QB you looking at in college football for the game? The guy that I'm looking at plays in about 20 minutes. His name is Shedeur Sanders. That's one of the guys that I'm looking at. I like Cam Ward too. I like Jackson Dart, but I think he needs some time to develop. I don't like Beck from Georgia. I don't think he can work off script. I don't think he's the type of quarterback that Dable can use. He likes a guy to be a little bit more mobile. Jalen Milroe needs a lot. He needs some improvement too, but roll tide at the end of the day. But as far as if Brian Dable is the coach next year, the guy that fits his offense and what he likes to do the most, in my opinion, is Jalen Milroe. And what I'll say to that is, if I got a choice between Ward, Sanders, and Milroe, I don't care if he fits Brian Dable's system. Give me Sanders and give me Ward, and then give me Milroe. I also like Nuss though. Nuss from LSU, Nussmeier, Garrett. Nuss is a player too. He's a guy that you can probably get in the second round, and I will not be mad at getting Nuss either. I like Nuss a lot. James Hollis says, "Can DJ afford to lose another primetime game?" What is it? Listen, I'm gonna ask you a question, James. I'm gonna ask you a question. Would you be surprised if he lost another primetime game? Will that surprise you if he lost? And that'll let you know if he can afford it or not. I think people are already checked out when it comes to DJ. So if you say, can he afford to lose another primetime game? To me, it doesn't matter now. Now I will say this though. If we lose bad to the Steelers, And it's clearly because the offense can't put up points. The defense played pretty well. The defense held on for as long as possible. And Jones just has another terrible primetime game. Then I think the whole benching him happens a lot sooner than later. Because right now, I thought he, you could probably get away with benching him right now if you really wanted to. You probably could. You probably get away with it right now. But I think they need to see him lose a little bit more before they do it. And I think I do think it's a John Mara thing now. Like, I think if it was just Brian Dable, you're probably trying to bench him. But again, it's Monday. Maybe they're saving that move into the bye week. But I give him 3 more games though right now. You got this game, you got the Commander game next week, and then you have the Germany game against the Carolina Panthers, and that's it for me. I think that's it. Sydney says, Dash, do you think getting a rookie quarterback is risky versus getting a proven QB who was proven? It worked back when Kerry Collins resurrected his career. That's a good question. And that's probably going to be the biggest agenda or the biggest question going into next season. To me, even if you do sign that Kerry Collins type of bridge guy, if you're in a position to get one of these rookie quarterbacks, you get them anyway. You go ahead and get them anyway, and then you can just have a bridge and then the rookie for however long that lasts. But for me, if I'm picking, it just depends on where we're at. If we're if we're top 5, I'm gonna go ahead and get one of them quarterbacks for sure. And you figure the draft is so far after free agency, and depending on what happens with Daniel Jones and his contract, if they decide to cut Daniel Jones as soon as the season's over, they're going to bring in a veteran quarterback, because who knows what's going to happen for the draft. Unless the New York Giants somehow end up with a top 3 pick, you're probably going to see the New York Giants make a similar move and get a veteran guy in here. Now, who that veteran is going to be, what's the market look like? I haven't even got a chance. I haven't even looked at the free agent quarterbacks just off the top of my head. You got guys like Minshew that are probably going to be free agent. Jameis Winston is another one. Jacoby Brissett. It's Tannehill is another guy that's out there right now too. It's not a lot of names when you think about it. So who are we talking about here, and how much money is it going to cost us? Because that's the other thing too, is salary cap. Because no matter what we do with Daniel Jones, there's still going to be some dead money, some dead cap. So you're probably not going to want to be signing somebody that's a high-priced bridge. So she also said Bryce Young, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's another guy, but guess what? It's funny. I saw some Minnesota Vikings already are turning on Sam Darnold after that bad performance. Not saying that a lot are, and I wish we had some of those guys in the building right now, because they usually jump in from the Vikings. But it's 2 Vikings guys. Vocal Vikings, one of them. Sam Darnold is not their best, not their best friend right now, and what a difference a week makes. We see it happen all the time. All right. Bryce Young is another guy that he definitely needs a change of scenery. But we saw Andy Dalton take over, and that offense looked 10 times better than when Bryce Young was in there. And I think that Bryce Young has to start this week because of injury to Andy Dalton. So we'll see what happens. But and again, Bryce Young's an Alabama guy, but I was never high on Bryce Young. Just my opinion, though. Let's see. What about Justin Fields? Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields put you in the same situation. I don't think he's going to break the bank. It just depends on what happens with the Steelers. Now, they're going to make a decision between Russ, because they're probably looking for a bridge quarterback too. So they're probably going to make a decision between Fields and Russ. We might see that decision happen by the trade deadline, depending on how Russell Wilson plays. If Russell Wilson continues to play well, and has the Pittsburgh Steelers offense humming, then you might see Justin Fields get traded at the trade deadline just to try to get rid of any kind of quarterback controversy. But we'll see what happens, man. I don't know how I feel about Justin Fields right now. If you're going to give me Justin Fields, you have to pretty much change up everything you do for Justin Fields. But he is one of those guys that can kind of fit that mold, though, for sure. For sure. Which face mask you talking about? Oh, you're talking about from Sam Darnold. Yeah, that was awful. The refs did an awful job. They missed that face mask. That gets them out of the shadow of the end zone a fresh set of downs, and who knows what happens after that. But yeah, that was awful that the ref missed that, and I bet you, no doubt in my mind, that that's going to be on the agenda at the owners' meeting this summer. Making face mask a renewable play. Shout out to New York Revival in the building. Shout out to my guys. I don't know which guy this is though, but shout out to Hefe Spiro, and my man Eli Vibes. Shout out to New York Revival. Again, that's another great New York Giants content creator out there. Go ahead and, if you're not subscribed to that channel, go ahead and get down with the New York Revival team. And guess what? They don't just talk about the Giants. So if you are a New York fan, New York sports fan, they talk about the Yankees, they talk about the Mets, they talk about the Islanders, they talk about the Knicks, they talk about the Nets, they talk about everybody. They talk about everybody. Rangers, they talk about everybody. Shout out to them. Trey Lance will be available. James, nobody cares about Trey Lance. It is over for Trey Lance. That's clear signs of desperation if we talk about Trey Lance. And it's a shame too. He did get a fair shot. It was San Francisco, but he couldn't stay healthy. And then when he got to Dallas, he does not look good. And if you can't be successful in a Shanahan system and we see Shanahan don't even need the best quarterback to get you to the Super Bowl. He gonna get you there close with anybody that's there. Trey Lance couldn't shake in San Fran. I don't think Daboll could do anything with him. I don't think so. Let's see what's going on here. Man, you already know, man. Appreciate the love, my brother. That's a fact. Oh, it's Vibes. Shout out to Eli, man. Again, if you guys are not subscribed to New York Revival, go ahead and check those guys out. Those are my brothers over there, man. Always putting out good work and always working hard too, man. Positive guys over there. And again, when it comes to this New York Giants community, you need that kind of positivity, especially when the team is playing as bad as it's playing right now. That's a fact. Shout out to my man Wales. Wales, what's going on, Wales? What's going on, Wales? Did you already UFC? Let me know something, Wales. I'm not watching, but let me know. Shout out to Wales. Wales to NJ. He's part of the Big Blue crew out there with Big Pat, my man. Big Lou with G Nation. He's part of that group. Shout out to Wales. So if you're not subscribed to Wales, also he'll let you know what's going down with the UFC, boxing, all that stuff. Soccer too. Shout out to Wales. And his name is Wales because he is from Wales, currently in New Jersey. Hey, Bill, I know, Bill. He said, are we seriously at the Trey Lance part of the season already? Hey, if it was mentioned, Bill, we might be at that part. If it was mentioned, we might absolutely be at that part. But then, man, Trey Lance ain't it. He ain't it. But again, when you're in QB purgatory, QB hell, the grass looks greener every side, everywhere you look. When you're in this situation right now. Can I get DeVito on the field first, though, before we talk about Trey Lance, anybody else? Can I get DeVito at least? Oh, wow, already. Third round TKO. Wow. There it is. So nice early night. How many fights left on the card? Was that the main event? Ended in the third round TKO? Let me know. Shout out to Michael Hines in the building. He said if Russ a free agent next season, draft Cam Ward and sign Russ to mentor Cam. I'm with that. I like that. Thank you very much for the fight update. Okay, the title's next. That's what's up. Hey, Sydney, I got it this time. See, I learned something new, Sydney. You taught me something new. I got it now. I got it now. Bill says, I actually want Tommy on the field, but you know me and Tommy. Yeah, that's a fact. John says, I'm not ready for the DeVito circus yet. What do you mean you're not ready for the DeVito circus? It was a wild ride last season, right? I enjoyed every minute of the DeVito circus, man. Beat Green Bay. He might have ruined our draft spot, but I was enjoying the DeVito. He was selling sandwiches and everything. Selling sandwiches, signing jerseys, and kissing babies. That's what DeVito was doing. Nah, much love and respect too, Wales. Shout out to you, man. Wales also says, man, put the veto in Jones, ain't it, lads? That's a fact. That's a fact, man. He says, okay, Dads, what's your prediction for our record for the season? I'm saying 3-14. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. Before the season started, my range for wins was 6 to 8 wins. That's why I felt like the New York Giants were going to be 6 to 8 wins. I did think that we should have started the season 2-0, and when that didn't happen, it kind of went down. So I'm still holding on to 6 and 8. But if you're going to hold my feet to the fire, man, I can't do it. I can't do it, man. It's so bad in my head. I don't even want to say. I don't want to bring life to it. I apologize. I can't answer that question right now, G man. Ask me in 2 more weeks, and ask me in 2 more weeks. I swear, I promise, I will give you my answer. I can't do it right now. I don't even want to say it. I can't say it, man. I don't want to say it. I don't want to live in that reality yet. New York Revival says, keep Jones out there. The best gift he can give us is the #1 overall pick. That's another way to look at it. That is another way to look at it. Dwayne, don't do it. Let's be honest, Dash. We're a 4-win team at most. Dwayne, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to say that out loud yet. I'm not ready to say that out loud yet. But guess what, Dwayne? Dwayne, come here, Dwayne. Dwayne, balls, come here. We might be a 4-win team, Dwayne. We might be a 4-win team, Dwayne. G-Man says, don't sit on that fence. Say it. Nah, listen, man. Turn your volume up. I said something. Hopefully you guys heard it. Bill says the whole family showing up and tailgating. It was a show for sure. If nothing else, I'll leave the college scouting to you guys. I just don't. Well, I guess I just don't know enough. Okay. Yeah, listen. I watch every Saturday. They know it. I sit in my living room and watch college football, back to back to back. I got the cable playing with all the channels, all the conferences. I'm watching. What was I watching today? It was Rice versus some. I watch them all. I watch all college football, man. I'm a nerd when it comes to college football. And speaking of that, again, this game is going to start, so we're going to wrap this thing up in a little bit. TP Way says, I need that Panther game, and I need a couple divisional games. Listen, yeah, that's one thing. And I started this stream talking about what John Mara said and these guys being safe. I got a question for you guys, because some people agree with it. Some people think it's the best decision. If the New York Giants go 0-6 in the division, if we go 0-6 in the division, do you still feel the same way? Do you still feel the same way? He says, shout out to Virginia Tech. Let me tell you something, man. When Alabama was down in the 90s and right before Saban got there, and right when Michael Vick was there, I was quietly a Virginia Tech fan for a little bit. For Michael Vick, Brandon Cunningham was another guy. I think it was Cunningham. Marcus Vick, Tyrod Taylor. I was out there rooting for Virginia Tech. But when Saban came to Alabama, I was right back to where I needed to be. Pride. Roll Tide. Shout out to Virginia Tech, though. Sydney says, we have a lot of good football teams yet to play. I don't think Jones lasts. Listen, I don't think so either. And again, it just depends on what happens and how bad things look. I don't like how fast Brian Dable said Daniel Jones was a starter, but if you're still trying to build confidence in the team, and just like John Mara said, these guys are safe, Brian Dable pretty much did the same thing for Daniel Jones to try to give him some confidence, because he knows he's going to need him to play well, or he's going to sit. So I think these guys are tied at the hip to a certain extent. I do believe that Brian Dable is slowly separating himself, but the best interest of these guys is for Daniel Jones to play well. Even if the New York Giants aren't winning games, the offense needs to look better in order for Brian Dable, in my opinion, to keep his job no matter what John Mara said. Because if you lose to Pittsburgh, then the Commanders, and then the Panthers, I don't care what John Mara says. And we already know John Mara's word is born. Pretty much. All right, so we're going to get into this part of the show. We're going to wrap it up, but we're going to end it with some predictions. So everybody that's listening right now, again, make sure you hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If this is your first time here and you're a New York Giants fan, salute to you. But make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I'm pretty safe that everybody here is already subscribed, though. But let me know what you guys think about this game. Time to put your money where your mouth is, or, put it in the comment section. What is your prediction for the game? New York Giants versus the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh, prime time Monday Night Football. Let's talk about it a little bit before we get out of here. Dwayne Murphy says, honestly, I've defended Dable. But if we come out of the season with a top 2 or 3 pick, I don't care what happens to the staff because we know our QB is getting drafted. That's a good way to put it. Whale says, Mara is telling these coaches what to do. Jones is going to play based on the money they're paying him. True. TP Way says, if we get swept in the division, fire everybody. Everybody. That's my impersonation right there. Michael Hines says, if Daniel Jones goes undefeated for the rest of the season, would you still want to draft a quarterback? If Daniel Jones goes undefeated for the rest of the season, I'm pretty sure they won't draft a quarterback. And if he's winning games and he's the reason why we're winning these games and he's throwing the team on his shoulders, again, at the end of the day, I'm for what's best for the Giants. If he does something like that, but he has to also look good. We've seen Daniel Jones take us to the playoffs or be a part of a winning team. And a lot of people will give Saquon Barkley a lot of that credit. It can't look like that. It can't look like that. He has to be the guy. He has to be the guy, and then we can have this conversation, Michael Hines. But at the end of the day, if the New York Giants are winning, I'm with it, for sure. TP Way says, Giants 21. Are you saying the Steelers get nothing? I know you. There you go, Steelers 18. So he got the Giants 21, Steelers 18. Sydney says 31-7 Steelers. Johnny Lovely says 14-28 Steelers. G-Man says 30-3 Hudo. Bill says 24-17 Steelers. Whale says watch the Giants mess around and win this game. That's a fact. That would be a very Giants thing to do. When everybody is ready to bury you. When you're already laying in the hole already, pause. And they're ready to throw that dirt on you. The Giants will mess around and win a game like that for sure. We've done it in the past. Win games we have no reason winning. Alan Green. Well, shout out to Alan. What's going on, bro? He said, Dable says Jones gives the Giants the best chance to win. And if I had water, I'll be choking right now. No. TP says, realistically, Giants 10, Steelers 23. Yeah, that's realistic for sure. So Sydney said, I hope so. Wales Wilson. I said, me too, Sydney. That's a fact, man. That's a fact. What injuries do the Steelers have for Sunday's game? It's Monday's game. I don't have the list here. I know Herbig is out. Their center is out. The wide receiver, the rookie they got, what's his name? What's the rookie they got? The guy from Michigan. I can't remember his name right now, but he's out as well. They're dealing with some injuries, but they got most of their plays. But they got some injuries on the offensive line. Their starting center is out, Frazier. So again, and for me, it doesn't matter who's standing in front of decks. It is what it is. But yeah, they're pretty healthy going into this game. Secondary's healthy. They might have a cornerback out. I had to ask my wife. My wife's a big Steelers fan. You guys know that. John Mays, that's a fact. He said, I just hope we fight. That's so true. Dwayne says 31-3 Steelers. Christian, shout out to Christian. He says 2017 Steelers. G-Man just says Steelers. I know what you meant. 30-3 Steelers. I got you. I know what you meant. I'm just messing with you. James the Giant says if Daniel Jones takes us to the Super Bowl and win, I still think we got to look for the replacement. Oh, man. The man he can win a Super Bowl and we still got to move on. That's how people feel. And it's funny. It's you know what? I'm laughing, and it's only funny because it's true. I'm gonna get to it, Sydney. I'm gonna get to it. Well says, good luck to all the fantasy managers out there. See you on Monday. Let's go, G-Men. That's a fact. At the end of the day, it's always go Giants. There it is, Roman Wilson. That's his name, Roman Wilson. Thank you, Bill. Metakevich is the linebacker. Nick Herbig. I wanted to draft Nick Herbig too. He's also outside linebacker. Zach Frazier and then Dylan Cook. I don't know what position Dylan Cook plays. B Train 721 just says, "Hey man, what's going on? Hey man, hey B Train, yeah, hey." But I'm gonna get into my prediction. I have the New York Giants. Losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the game is going to be something like 17-10. 17-10. Lord forgive me. 17-10. Steelers. That's where I'm at right now. That's how I feel about it. Cook is outside. Is a tackle. Okay, gotcha. But yeah, that's it, man. I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'm gonna go ahead and watch this Colorado game. Catch the rest of this World Series. Is it still 4-1? Somebody give me the score. Oh man, Will says, quick question. Quick question. Paul Tyson. I'm always gonna pick Mike Tyson. I do think that Paul will get on his bike and move around. Tyson will be chasing him. The only question is, can Tyson hit him clean? If Tyson can get a clean hit on Paul, it's curtains. But can he do it? I don't know. I was way more confident about that fight in July. Not so much now. Tyson's old, man. At the end of the day, he's still old, and I don't know what his chin is like anymore. But I will tune in to watch that. Not gonna pay for it. But I will watch it. Still 4-1. Thank you very much. Top of the 7. So no movement. But yeah, time to get to this Shador saying it's Colorado Buffaloes game. So with that being said, man, shout out to everybody. Thank you for hanging out with me. 42 people strong in the building. Salute and respect to y'all. Appreciate the love and support as always. Without you guys, this channel would not exist. It'd just be me talking to myself because I love the Giants so much. I'll still be here talking. But again, shout out to you guys for the love and support. But with that being said, I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation.